Girl, you killing it.
Well, hello, family. Welcome back to our channel. I am Kim.
I'm Vic.
And welcome to the Seeking Educational Excellence platform, where we really believe that critical thinking skills are sorely missed, not only in K through 12 education, but just everywhere.
Right? The world is going bonkers.
Just in this world, period. So what we seek to do with Seeking Educational Excellence is just to educate you and just give you food for thought.
Yeah.
That is, we are not experts. We're just two regular
broads. Bringing it straight to your head.
I'm going to let her speak for herself, but that was well said, sis. So as you know, the name of our program is Well Said with Kim and Vic. And so we just really, like I said, focus on just educating and giving you information that we thought made us think about things.
Make things that make you go,
give you some food for thought. So today's topic, we are talking about the big food and big pharma industry. Everybody is familiar with that term, and we know that it exists.
That's what I'm saying. Loaded Jesus, you know?
So we've all heard that term, and it was just something that was really in light of, what we're seeing now, especially with a lot of the mandates going on with the health issues that we've been dealing with the last couple of years, seeing the push for, vaccines, which is a pharmaceutical issue. It's just so much going on. I just thought that this particular topic is very timely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Did you have any more that you wanted to say before we kind of dig into?
It's the sad thing is that we're at a day and time that people are not. I'm sorry, that's my phone going. I'm sorry.
And I just got fussed at for getting phone calls during the live. And look,
I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. See how they do you? Do as I do.
Take me. Click. I just kind of want to piggyback off what you were saying, how just thinking critically, this is what we do here at Well Said with Kim and Vic. We're at a point that people don't think cognitively. The cognitive thinking of society has really plummeted. It has plummeted really badly. And people no longer think critically, with their medulla. They think emotionally. Everything is always an emotional response. And then you get catastrophic results because it leads into violence. It always leads into violence. And I am seeing that on an uptick with this subject that we're going to talk about today, later on today. But
so you think there could be a correlation, and what we're going to be talking about is not necessarily any causation of these issues, but you can connect the dots yourself, and kind of see where this happened and this happened at the same time. So could there be some kind of relationship? And that's
I'm just going to give you an example. Get a soda bottle. Start shaking it. Just shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it.
Shake it to the left. Shake it
and
to
then
the
watch.
right.
Open that cap. It's going to blow up. It's going to blow up unless you say, let it settle down. Let it do what it does. Let it go back to its original state or the original intent of the soda when you first buy it. It settles itself down. And you got to keep shaking it up for it to explode.
Okay.
So right now, the people are at the explosion level.
Okay, I got you.
Because now they're acting irrationally. They're not doing things thought out. They are becoming a more aggressive, violent. Why? Because
of the food and the drug or the pharmaceutical industry.
And people are frustrated. People are angry. I understand that. However, when you are upset and you are angry, you don't think cognitively correct. Your brain will give you your emotions Or it was not your brain that give you emotions. Your emotions will give you remote emotions to react.
Right, but people are prone to that. You think about it. If people are prone to be emotional, they're going to lean that way anyway a lot. And then with what we talk about with critical thinking skills, as a matter of fact, interesting enough, when I was coming to get ready for this, I was listening to a podcast, and one of the things that the broadcaster said was, learn how to respond consciously instead of react unconsciously, which made a lot of sense. Is that we have to learn how to respond to things knowingly, being aware of what's going on, instead of getting an emotional response and then just responding or reacting. There's a difference between responding and reacting.
But you know what, Kim? Some people live on a high. Girl, they look for little sheeples that they can gaslight.
And then the sheeples like it too, because they're being fed emotionally some kind of way. You got to consider that there is, when emotions are evoking a certain, or certain things evoke a certain emotion.
Exactly.
And then you will have the powers that be that know how to evoke those emotions.
Yeah.
And they use those emotions against you. So I guess what we're saying with all of this is that we believe that between the huge and I want to say international, this is just not in America. We're going to focus mainly in America, but this is a global issue. From a global standpoint, pharmaceuticals or drugs or chemicals and foods and the drugs and chemicals in them are causing harm, we believe, to the human race,
the population.
So what the area that I really focused on in doing research is the food industry, or as we call big food, big agriculture, whatever you want to call it.
Just like big pharma, big food.
Yes. And it really is. You got to think about
farming,
it.
Big agriculture.
Some of the information that I came across, the thing that I really focused on is recent history. And back in 1972, I think it was the FDA established the Standard American Diet, or the acronym SAD, which you can make,
because it is sad.
You can definitely make the correlation or about the Standard American. Yes, not causation. We can't, because we don't know. We're not scientists, but you can look at some things and kind of make the connection.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you guys a graphic right quick, if I can pull that up. Be patient with me, because I am.
Please. Be patient with me.
Look, this is technology, and I'm not that technologically savvy. So give me a second. There it is. Yeah. Vic makes fun of me sometimes.
No, I love her.
So this is a cool little graphic about the Standard American Diet, right? Which was started back in 1972. So if you look, you can see that a big part of the diet, the orange part, is processed foods, right? And as a matter of fact, I got a video. Me and Vic got a couple of videos we want to share with you, but the link is in the description on the Seeking Educational Excellence YouTube page, where you can go and look at them yourself.
Yeah.
But there's a huge part of our diet, and that yellow part of this graph is processed foods.
Oh God.
And if you look at the Standard American Diet, the bottom tier, like it's a pyramid, right? And at the bottom tier is a lot of processed grains and foods and stuff. And then the vegetables and stuff got smaller and smaller going towards the top. So I feel like, or at least my thoughts took me to that this could be correlated between the rise in obesity, diabetes, because you can even go back and look, and I suggest this, go back and Google pictures of Americans in the 1960s.
Yeah.
Black, white, green, blue, it didn't matter. All of us.
The same across the board.
Yes.
That's right, girl.
And we was eating mama's cooking. We was eating grandma's cooking.
We were active too.
Yeah.
We were much active. How many times your mom told you when and my mom told me, go outside and play.
Exactly.
Go outside and go skate.
That's a whole nother thing too. That's a whole nother issue.
Okay,
it seems as there some, for lack of a better word, agenda that is keeping our kids stuck to screens. Us too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And even you guys watching us and stuff. Not that that's a bad thing, but a lot of us are connected to screens. We got smartphones and everything, and then that makes our activity level go down.
And now that we under the that some people are under that incarceration of working from home, that's another reason why we have a large rise, because a lot of people are not getting as much activity
Yes.
as they would normally get
Right.
if they went to work. And if that, even if it just means just to get up and go to work every day, that's what you're doing. It depends on what state you're in. You traveling, whether you are traveling, taking subway, buses, you have to walk to this. So it's a lot of walking. It depends on where you are, whether it's rural or city kind of life. You get more walking. I remember in Midtown Manhattan when I lived in New York, I used to get so much physical exercise just because of me commuting from my home. Okay,
it's funny you would say that, because I always say it baffles my mind a little bit when I see a fat New Yorker, because I know you guys walk a lot.
We walk a lot.
You do.
We walk a lot.
You have mass transit, so then you got to walk to the train, to the subway, to the bus stop. And even when I go visit New York, my sister lives in Brooklyn. When I go visit, we do a lot of walking.
There's a lot of walking because you don't really need a vehicle.
You don't need a vehicle. That's very true. So, and then I guess that's another thing that's outside of this. Is maybe we can talk about that as another subject later, but the lack of physical activity.
Yes.
And I will make this point too. During my research, I did find that even though, because you got to think about the fitness industry is a big deal, right? And in spite of the fitness industry, we still have a rise in obesity, diabetes, a lot of chronic illnesses that are directly related to what we eat.
Yes.
One of the things I definitely discovered is that food is medicine. And a lot of what we're eating, you can make the correlation between, like I said, the standard American diet, or the true acronym is SAD, because it makes you sad.
What they show you,
is that we had, and I have another graphic. Wait a minute, let me share this, guys, with you. That show is really crazy.
It's amazing. And also, it's how the portion size, we went from smaller plates to larger plates. Now that you can go into the store, you can get different size dinner plates. You can get the real big one that look like a platter, or you can get the medium one, and then you have the little salad plate on top of it. You have to that the bigger the plate, the more food.
Exactly. And then we got into the supersize era.
Supersize and fries, upscaling your size.
And then back in the day, the average farmer in America was producing enough food. There was a time in America, though, we didn't have a lot of food during the Depression and stuff, where food was more scarce. But as we came out of the Depression, the average farmer was making enough food for Americans to eat anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 calories a day. Now, today, the farmer or big agriculture, big food is making enough food for an American to eat 6,000 calories a day. So, and then if you look at this graphic, we just pulled this up recently too. I found this. You can see at the bottom of the graphic, it shows, this is in America too. And I think the left side is men, the right side is women. And you can see the line starting in the 70s and 80s to go up on being overweight, being obese, and being grossly obese. So we're not saying, like I said, in full disclaimer mode, we're not saying that the standard American diet caused obesity, but this would make you think that right at the time when the standard American diet came out, obesity started to elevate, and increase at alarming levels. Now, when you look at pictures of Americans, we see so many fat folk.
And also with, like we were talking about, the childbearing with on top of women. Now,
the average weight gain, I think, for women was 20 pounds.
20 pounds. But along with, you may gain, it's just supposed to be only baby weight. The baby is supposed to be like 9 pounds, between 8 to 9 pounds.
Woo, that's a big baby, sis.
From if it's a big, I'm just
6 pounds is average.
That would be the
baby.
Cap. That would be the cap. Usually it's between 6 and 7 pounds. Okay, or lower.
Right.
However, people who are expecting, they're not exercising. So now if you look at people that was pregnant back then in the day, nice and thin, just a belly, than women now.
Yeah.
We eating, but we're not exercising. We're eating while we're in those months of pregnancy. We are eating, but not exercising. And so therefore you tend to have a difficult birth.
If you're not continually moving,
your body is
or
not
something.
moving.
Yeah.
And you're in delivery for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
Because your body now is tensing up with the contractions and being that you're at a larger frame.
And that's another issue we can talk about. We can make the relationship between exercise and your wellness. And even in that graphic, we saw that women tended to, even in the 60s, we were a little heavier, but you got to consider childbearing as well in that. However, we weren't obese.
Yeah.
Even though we were having kids, we weren't obese. So I look at this and say, and this is where we talk about critical thinking skills. So when I see a graphic like this, you always wonder what happened at that time, right? Wouldn't that be if you're a critical thinker, and that's a big if, because unfortunately a lot of us aren't. So, but if you're a critical thinker and you look at this graph, you say, I wonder what was happening around like that 1972 to 1980 time where this line is going up and it's still going up. You're going to look at what happened at that particular time to make this line. Well,
the 70s, we had a lot of protesting, picketing and stuff like that. You had more people outside.
Yes.
You have more outdoor activity than indoor activity.
Okay.
So you have a lot of walking with protesting, because you remember that we did it with that. There was a lot of on all cultures. You had Woodstock and all that. So you had that. You had the streaking time of protest. There was more activities going on. I was in New York. There was streaking. 70s.
She slipped at it.
Streaking. Yeah. And so you had.
Whatever happened to streaking?
Let me tell you something. My older sisters was that period in time, and I remember they wanted to go out. My father said, "You're not going into Manhattan."
It's butt naked.
Butt naked. It's supposed to be naked, but butt naked.
Butt naked. Yeah.
Butt naked. But I'm just saying that could be another reason as well. We did a lot of protesting. We had more outdoor activities.
But even in my research, sis, one of the things, because like I said, we have Americans, we're big on fitness. The fitness industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. However, we're still getting fat. So one of the things, and I have a personal trainer, one of the things me and him talk about a lot is that he says my most important exercise is what I eat. Exercise is wonderful. I'm not saying don't exercise, because it has so many other benefits outside of weight management, right? Because it increases all those positive hormones, your serotonin, your dopamine, relieves stress, helps you sleep better. Fitness and exercise is absolutely good. But I think my greater point with the food industry, that in spite of that, because we may be living longer, and here's the other thing, Americans are living longer. Our life expectancy is longer.
Yeah.
However, we're chronically ill. I got one more graphic that I want to pull up.
I never see obese people in old folks' homes. That's it.
Because they already gone. They already did. I was going to say that. I got it. Because I got another graphic that we pulled up and chronic illness is one of the biggest issues in modern, I guess, and this is a global issue, but of course we speak more on America because that's where we have a lot of the problems. So wait a minute, let me pull up this. Was this the one, Vic? The obesity chart? Wait a minute. Was it this one?
Yeah. Was that for the about the video?
No, that was the one that's the standard American diet. I want to make sure chronic disease management. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. Because we have there it is. We actually have a chronic disease epidemic
that's
worldwide. And if you look at this graphic, is it like 49% of Americans? You got to read that for me. We were looking at this, but a lot of people have chronic illnesses, and most of this is related to eating, right? Something like 7 out of 10 people have, this is crazy, y'all. Wait a minute. Give me a second because I want to read this. 7 out of 10 are Deaths are caused by chronic diseases. Wow, that's crazy. And 63% of diabetics have some type of mobility limitations, and 49%, almost 50% adults have one or more chronic illnesses. So when we talk about chronic illnesses, that's like heart disease, like congestive heart failure. That's so I'm a life insurance and health insurance agent. And that's one of the biggest issues that I run into. COPD, which is a lung disease, which is very chronic.
From smoking.
Yes. Now, some people have it without smoking, but it's a chronic disease.
Really?
Diabetes is a metabolic disease. Yeah, because you can get people who never smoke.
Because but they can have COPD, but it's probably maybe from chain smoking. They lived with someone in their home that smoked. But for you to have just chronic,
you can have a lung disease without even being around people.
Well, lung disease, yes, but it wouldn't be called COPD.
COPD is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. So it is a lung disease. It has more. Now, that's not to say I've seen people who have COPD that still smoke. It's crazy to me. But it's congestive heart failure is another one. Of course, we know high blood pressure, diabetes. These types of disease are very, very popular in Western. I'll even make the clarification of Western society. So America, Canada, Australia, Europe, a lot of us that are, live in Western society, and, having food is not one of our issues. We have an abundance of food, but what we eat is making a difference in our health. So I had to bring up that graphic just to show, and all of these chronic issues, you can make a correlation and a correlation between what we eat. And if we're eating a lot of processed foods, a lot of sugar, these things, what causes chronic illness is inflammation in the body. And these types of diseases are chronic diseases due to inflammation in your body.
But let me just interject with you that COPD, it says smoking. About 85 to 90% of all COPD cases are caused by cigarette making.
Cigarette making?
Yes, cigarette making. So meaning
they got to be in the factory making them to get it.
Your environment, what you breathe every day at home, outside can play in your role developing COPD.
I don't dispute that. What I'm saying is, because I work in the life and health industry, I have had clients who have COPD. They're not around smoke. They don't smoke.
Unless they're asthmatic.
Here's the other thing too. And that goes back to my point of what I'm saying is that these chronic illnesses a lot of times have more to do with your diet than environment is very important. So I don't want to say environment isn't, but the first line of defense to me, when you talk about your wellness and your health, is what you are putting directly in your body. And my argument is that what's being given to us as food now is not the healthiest food for us. I think what I'm trying to do is make the case is that based on when our diet changed back in 1972 as Americans, and looking at the rise in obesity here in this country, we can say that there may be a relationship between the change in our diet, not to mention when you get big agriculture and big food, they're making more food, but they're processing it in a way that's unhealthy, right? Because we talked about TV dinners, the onset of these types of foods. Remember, you think about it, because one of the recommendations with the standard American diet was to eat 6 times a day. You eat 3 or 5 times, I think 3 meals and 2 snacks, right? No human being since the beginning of time has ever needed that much food.
But I think we were trained with that too, because we also trained when we get up in the morning, breakfast, you have to, it's a fast. You haven't eaten for 8 hours within that. So you're breaking a fast, and they say you have to have a full breakfast. So they program into us, you have to have bacon, eggs.
Well, it is a break. It's not even, you are breaking the fast, right?
Yeah.
But who says it's got to be in the morning? You may want to break your fast at 12 o'clock the next day.
This is what I was going to go on to say. What I was going to say, that you can break your fast whenever you feel
when your body tells you you're hungry.
And and that fast could just be for a drink of water, something, even though you're supposed to drink water through the course of the night. Or
you're saying that the fast, you can drink water and it can satisfy that hunger. Your body may just be saying you're thirsty.
You're thirsty. You're not hungry.
Right.
And because we've been taught that the breakfast has to be a set amount of
But sis, it's past teaching. Let me tell you, because in my research, what I've learned is that what they're putting in the food, it evokes a hunger signal in us. The stuff that we're eating. Just to give you an example, and this is anecdotal. This is not, and most of us have experienced it though. Yeah. How many of us have eaten a certain amount of food, felt full for a little while, and 2 hours later we're hungry again?
Chinese food.
So Chinese food, potato chips, all these things that we love to eat that are very addictive. And I promise you, the ingredients that are put in there are supposed to do what they're doing.
Yeah.
So when you eat chips or whatever food it is that you eat, that's processed food. Because I tell you something, when you eat whole foods, they keep you satiated for a longer time. You can eat, if you eat a good meal that satiates you, and it's the type of whole foods that we're supposed to eat, oats, not processed foods,
peanuts,
whole foods, then they satiate you for a longer time.
Dog berries.
And back in the day, like even before the standard American diet, remember we ate 3 meals, and you better eat dinner by 6 o'clock. And mama was like, if you don't eat at 6, too bad. You're not going to eat lunch. No snacking. Remember, they didn't believe in that. Yeah. And mama's at home cooking with fresh, whole ingredients. She's not going to the store and getting a box of potato buds and putting some water in it and giving you mashed potatoes.
In my world, when I was a kid, go out there in that backyard and
pick some green or get apple off the tree.
If you're that hungry, we went outside and we picked right off the tree an apple, a pear. Yeah. And we ate it. That was our snack if you were hungry. But see, now we don't even have kids eating more fruits and vegetables. We're replacing the fruits and vegetables with starches, potatoes,
French fries.
Nothing is wrong with that. And it depends on how
you cook them, right? Yeah, potatoes, sweet potatoes.
Sweet potato fries is amazing in an air fryer. You want to do that. You really want to try that one. That is really good. Or the little chips that's really thin in an air fryer, you want to try that, and some little Himalayan salt on top of it. That's some good eat right there.
I got one more point I want to make, and I'm going to turn over to Vic so she can talk about Big Pharma. I did find a documentary about Big Food and Pharma, but I'm not going to show it. But the link to that documentary is in the description on the Seeking Educational Excellence YouTube page. So if you're watching from there, click on, there's actually 2 links. There's one link about Big Food, and then there's another one that Victoria put where a doctor is talking about the pharmaceutical industry and how slick they are. So,
well, I'm just going to play a portion of it, but you're going to have to go and you're going to have to listen to the whole entire tape. You want to take the time to listen to this doctor. You really do, going forward as we're facing the jab situation.
Okay, so, and then my final point about big pharmacy, I actually found an article on the Huffington Post. I'm not a big fan of the Huffington Post, but the truth is the truth, regardless of where it's coming from, right? That's one of my big things, is that I don't care who's telling the truth, who the messenger is. The truth never changes just because of who the messenger is. And they had a really great article that I came across called Obesity in America, Are Factory Farms, Big Pharma, and Big Food to Blame? Their first line of this article says, 1/3 of our economy thrives on making people sick and fat. Big farming grows 500 more calories per person per day than 25 years ago because they get paid to grow extra food even when it is not needed.
Wow.
They're putting extra corn, sugar, soy, fat, and it's turned into industrial processed food. And that's the other thing. These processed foods are created to have a long shelf life. The food that we regularly eat don't have a long shelf life. Like if you eat whole foods in their natural form, Most of them don't have a long shelf life.
But there's ways that you can do with natural foods and plants and herbs, because I do, because mine lasts a good, sometimes 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And that's taking all the condensation.
Yeah, but some of this food is sitting on the shelf for years.
I mean,
2-3 weeks is different.
I mean, like the canned food and stuff like that. I'm not, but I'm talking about like things that you can buy, fresh produce. You can have a little sustainable life on it, and that's just by sealing it correctly, taking out the condensation, using paper towel inside a bag, a lock seal bag.
Or we'll let them figure that out. Y'all figure out how to store your food. I got one more point, and I'm going to turn this over to Vic about pharmaceuticals. Now, this actual article that I'm reading is from 2011. Just think about it. This is 10 years ago. Back then, I believe it was 1 in 10 Americans have diabetes, and they're said by 2050, 1 in 3 Americans will have diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is a metabolic disorder, which is directly associated with too much insulin in your bloodstream. What spikes insulin? When you eat. So I'm gonna leave this with you, and you guys make up in your mind what you think. But if what we're eating is making us sick, I know for me, this last several months, I've actually been on a health and wellness journey, and I've lost almost 30 pounds because I changed what I eat and I've gotten more active. But I would say the biggest change I made is what I eat. And
it's also how you prepare your food. And it's also buying quality food.
That's key.
To help you be happy. People, they tell me I'm crazy because I've gone vegan, and a lot of my foods are just fresh foods. And you know what? My grocery bill looks totally different.
Is it cheaper?
No, it's more.
Oh, okay.
My grocery bill is more because I'm buying a lot of produce, fresh things. I'm buying organic mushrooms from certain sites, and those lion mane mushrooms that I use a lot for a meat base on certain things I make seafood with.
And the key here, though, is what's good for you. You have to decide. But what we want you to just keep in mind is that a lot of the foods that you may be buying out of the grocery store, processed foods and stuff, you may want to reconsider that and consider a way that we're not advocating or endorsing any type of way of eating. But what we want you to be aware of is that there's more to what you're eating, especially in terms of nowadays and processed foods and what we're being sold. And that you want to definitely consider what you are putting in your body before you put it in. So everybody is individual. What's good for one ain't necessarily good for the other. But what works for you?
The same thing with exercise. You don't need a trainer. You can just get up and walk every day.
But if you want a trainer, that's fine.
But if you want one, it's just like if you want to afford one. If you can afford one, fine. If you want to make a gym in your house, you can do that. You can just use cans and bottles for weights. There's so many things that you can do that, whatever fits your lifestyle, whatever fits your pocketbook, that's what you got to go with. We're just saying what we're doing.
We just want to make you aware.
This is what we're doing on our own journeys, because in our own journeys, this is what makes us comfortable. This is what makes us the people who we are. You have to decide what you want to do for your life and what makes you comfortable. And if it's just a crawling, you crawl, then you walk, then you run. You're not going to run right out of the gate. You're going to crawl, walk, and run. But the main thing is to stay consistent. That's what you want to remember. Now, that's all being said, Kim, you finished with your little...
I am.
Okay, let's get into this
big pharma.
Or the jab. Did you know Pfizer approved the FDA COVID vaccine for kids 5 to 11?
I did hear that.
Pfizer and BioNTech announced Thursday that they requested an emergency authorization for the COVID-19 for children 5 to 11, which would protect more than 28 million people in the United States. With this new case in children in the United States continuing to be at the high level, this submission is an important step in our ongoing effort for COVID-19, Pfizer's statement. We're committed to working with the FDA with ultimate goals of helping protect children against this serious public health threat. Pfizer has suggested dosage 1/3 dose to children, which would require the dilution or a syringe entirely. The second dose would be administered 3 weeks after the first dose, with the same thing with adults. Now, when I found out that particular article the other day, it just sent me on a search, and I ended up with this video by Dr. Artist and Adis Artist. And I just want you guys to kind of listen to what he said, and then we're going to come back and we're going to discuss that, okay? Because I think it's really important that a lot of issues that he had brought up that a lot of people did not know. Here we go. Go ahead, Kim.
Okay. I'm the tech person. Y'all got to give me a second.
Bear with her. Bear with her. Bear with her.
Okay. Here you go.
So you have a big news, big update, though, about the CDC and some of the.
Let me turn this on for you guys.
We do.
Yeah, so August 17th. Well, actually, there's a few
Give me
things
1
that the
second,
FDA
guys.
put
Wait a
out.
minute.
This new version of the Pfizer.
I definitely
COVID-19
want
shot
you
on Monday
guys
of
to
this
hear
week.
this. Hold on.
They're
Give me 1 second, guys.
Bear with us. Thank you,
And
guys.
look, don't shoot the technology person. Hold on.
She's trying her hardest.
Look,
She's
this-
trying her hardest.
I'm a lay person. I'm learning this little by
Listen,
little.
crawl, walk, run. Didn't I just say at your pace? Crawl, walk, run. Whatever, whatever works for you. But
There
anyways,
you go. Okay.
we going again, guys. Here we go. This is some shocking news too. This is very shocking.
Okay. Hopefully you guys can see.
We got 2 weeks Pfizer dose to turn into the FDA all listed ingredients that are in the shot, along with a complimentary labeling, and they have to match up. So they have to disclose for the first time now to the world what's in there.
Wow.
Which there have been proposed ideas, graphene oxide in there, how much mRNA is in there. We actually don't know all the ingredients. The emergency use authorization allowed the actual manufacturers to put in and change the formula this entire time. Wow. It's only once the approval process from the FDA steps in that they're not allowed to change it legally anymore. So they have to submit what's the final version of your vaccine.
So every shot that people got could be different.
Could be completely different.
Yeah, that's crazy.
For example, the very first Moderna shots that went out in December, they had two
Right.
patented little ingredients inside the shots. Now there's 7. But they haven't had to disclose what the other 5 are. We don't even know what they are. So all of these have been different. So one of the reasons why people ask, they ask a lot and reach out to us a lot. Why is it that I got the shots early on for COVID-19, but I didn't get sick? And why are we seeing all these other issues? And I'm telling them, they're actually changing the lots all the time. So I actually think the original shots did not have all the ingredients they do now. It's obvious. Moderna only had 2 patented ingredients. Now there's 7. They're actually more dangerous now, I would expect, than the previous one. So that's the news that's come out about the FDA. The CDC also announced in the same week, they announced that, they put it out in the media if you didn't see this yet. U.S. News reported on the 17th. Florida Star reported it. We've already got all the media outlets talking about it. They then sent a notice to every hospital in the United States and said, this week you can expect all doctors and all hospitals around the country, you can expect an outbreak between now and November of this year of a polio-like outbreak disease among children, average age of 5 years old.
Average age.
They can foresee that there's going to be a flooding into hospitals around the country, that children are going to present with paralyzed arms, paralyzed legs. They're not going to be able to walk. And the CDC is letting all the hospitals know that when you see these presentations, even half of their faces will be paralyzed, and a lot of them. They're calling it acute flaccid myelitis, and they're telling the docs this is what it looks like. Be prepared when they walk in. Make sure you diagnose it this way. There is no cure, by the way, is what they have actually stated to all the hospitals. You just need to start early physical therapy as your only chance to try to restore normal nerve function. And the truth is, the first question you have is how in the world would the CDC know that there's a coming outbreak among children of a polio-like, as they called it, a polio-like disease in the next 4 months? You're Christian, right?
Yeah.
Some people have the spirit of prophecy. Do you think the CDC's got prophet sitting in there going, hey, I can foresee in the next 4 months there's going to be a flood of children around the world, average age 5 years old.
They've created something.
How do they know it?
Yeah.
They actually stated that they have seen small outbreaks every 2 years, 2014, 16, 18.
Okay, you guys.
Oh Lord. Okay, guys.
A
All right. Now,
lot of good stuff in there.
I mean, me and Kim gonna pick this apart for the next 20 minutes. Okay, because
The biggest thing that he said.
wait, before we even go there.
The question. Remember we talked about critical thinking?
Yeah.
What did he say? How do they know that?
How do they are they psychics or prophets? Okay. Listen, they usually say if the prophets is wrong, they supposed, according to the Bible, that they're supposed to take them out to the wall and they're supposed to be stoned. That's what happened to false prophets.
That ain't gonna happen.
That ain't gonna happen. Let me ask you something. Did you get the jab?
That's like personal information. That's HIPAA violation. I don't have to disclose that.
Okay.
But hell no.
Okay, you go crazy. You know, but the thing about it is he's talking about this particular video was done August 18th, 2021.
Mm-hmm.
No. This was first said August 4th, 2020. The CDC warns of a potential fall outbreak of a rare polio-like illness in children. 2020.
Yeah. And it said it has spiked in even number of years and peaked in 2018.
Okay, but the thing about it is that how do you know in 2020 that there was going to be an outbreak?
Oh, no, they did that. Was this 2018? Wait a minute. That's it.
This is 2020.
Okay.
August 4th, 2020. What are you talking about?
Well, it says that they knew that the year and it peaked in 2018. That's the date of the article. But I think the point he was making, this been going on since 2014 or even longer.
No.
Yeah.
No, this has been going on since 2001.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They call it.
Make sure you guys check out that link. The full video is in the link and go see some of the stuff he discloses.
They call it flaccid
flaccid myelitis.
Exactly. Okay. This is what they're calling for. And they're saying to the doctors, hint, hint, wink, wink, you're going to get an onslaught of this between October and November.
Mm-hmm.
This is what they're telling the
doctors. The
here.
CDC
is telling the doctors this now.
Mm-hmm.
However, they also had a terrible outbreak in 2001. You guys need to go and get this article. It's the health department dispatch. Acute flaccid paralysis associated with circulation vaccines derived polio virus. This was in the Philippines. So what was happening in the Philippines when they were injecting the natives, they were coming down with this acute flaccid
does this say vaccine derived?
Yes.
So this acute flaccid myelitis is from a vaccine. Okay. So how would they know unless
right?
they knew?
Right? So if you guys go, this is the MMWR Weekly, and they posted this October 12th, 2001.
It's the CDC website. So you can go right to the CDC website and get this information.
About the jab. So, I mean, these children were coming down with Bell's palsy, because I had Bell's palsy. You don't want that. It feels like a stroke on your face. Okay. I had that in 2000. No, I had that in 1996. And it took me 2 years to clear that up. But even now, sometimes my eye will twitch really hard if I'm under a lot of stress or a lot of pressure, heavy pressure. But these children, it says the cases of acute flaccid paralysis associated with circulating vaccines, the derived polio virus, isolated, was reported in the Philippines during March to July 26, 2001. The first patient, a child aged 8 years old, northern Medino Island, 500 miles from Malawi, who received 3 doses of the oral vaccine, had an onset of paralysis in March. The second child, 3 years old, from Lagoon Province, okay, who received 3 OPV doses, presented with signs of malaria, but no paralysis.
Mm-hmm.
But
Vic,
this
we
is
got a couple of comments right quick too. We
Okay,
did have some
okay.
people. We see Malva saying, "Hey girl, we
Hi,
see
guys.
you, Miss Celeste." Mr. Art Arrow Color said, "Take care of yourself. You
How
know,
you
don't
doing?
eat trash." Yeah.
Yeah.
Celeste, sis, thanks for joining us, and Malva, thanks a lot
Hi,
for your
guys.
comments.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Yeah, and this is from the Philippines in 2001.
Mhm.
So these ingredients, because there was ingredients that they take out,
Mhm.
and then they substitute back those ingredients. So you had 5 or 7?
It was two
Two.
that were patented in the Moderna vaccine.
Exactly.
Because they're not required to disclose before
Well,
they go through review. Now that they're going through
To
review,
review.
there's 5 new ingredients that weren't there before.
And you could have a different dosage
vaccine, right, from when it first came
jab.
out to what they're doing now.
You have a different jab than
Mhm.
what the first group of people
Dosage,
So
or
when
different ingredients, right.
Yeah. So if you have loved ones who saying, "Well, why am I coming down with
Mhm.
the 19, and she is not coming
Mhm.
down. She didn't come down with the 19 when she got her jab.
Yeah.
Why is that? Because you may have had a different batch.
Right.
Okay.
Well, and I
Or
think
different
ingredients.
ingredients.
You're making the case is that when we're dealing with pharmaceuticals and the relationship between government, i.e. FDA, CDC, the vaccine recommendations we learned in that article, please make sure you check out that article, talked about the CDC sets the vaccine recommendations every year for what our kids are supposed to get. Now, we're not anti-vax.
No.
We're not anti-vax. However, we are pro-choice.
But I'm not anti-crap either. Because I don't want crap.
I know I'm pro, and I am anti-crap. I don't want crap. We are anti-crap. However, when you think about the importance of, we talked about this, not only food in your body, but any chemicals you're going to be putting in your body.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm not anti-vax. I'm not anti-jab or anything. My kids were vaccinated. I'm sure I was and everything. Vaccines have done some great things. However, I chose to have the vaccines. Even with prior vaccines, you can waive. There are exemptions for it. A lot of kids nowadays are not getting the vaccines that were required years ago. So there are exemptions for it. It just seems that now there's a huge push. And that not only in this environment, one of the things I also noticed with pharmaceuticals, they have a really weird relationship with doctors. How many times you go to the doctor's office and you see pharmaceutical reps are there, right?
With a big old black bag.
And the doctors have a monetary incentive to prescribe medications for you.
And you're the guinea pig.
You're the guinea pig.
So if you're sitting in your doctor's office,
the people.
If you're sitting in your doctor's office and you just say, oh, the rep just came in and she would say, oh, I just have this new brand for diabetes. You test dummy. You get that pack or whatever, and listen. It's
not
sad.
the test dummy.
you are the test dummy. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be harsh, mean, but you are the test dummy because
You're the test.
You're the test
dummy.
You know. I'm sorry. But because they're trying to cut corners instead of going back to they need or waiting for someone to come in and say, okay, we'll pay you $100 if you do this study for us, and this is the shorter way for them knocking out the middleman is you, paying you. They'll pay the doctor instead. Because
I've been part of studies that I got paid for. At least I was getting paid and I knew exactly what the study was.
Yeah, and this is what
now you're not even getting paid.
Sleep studies, but the thing about it is that we still have exemptions on people who's not getting the jab. Okay, let's talk about all of the Congress. We all know Congress and all the congressional staff members, okay, don't have to get the jab. No jab for them. 6,000 White House employees, no jab required, exempt.
So we're not anti-jab, we're anti-vax. Choice? No. We want you to have the choice to get it
Yeah.
if you want it.
If you want it, okay, you can get it. You can get the jab if you. However, I'm gonna tell you who's exempt from it. 2,500 Pfizer employees.
Wow.
Exempt. 15,000 Moderna employees exempt. 120,000 Johnson & Johnson employees exempt from the jab. 15,000 CDC employees exempt from the jab. 14,000 FDA employees exempt from the jab. Over 8 million Chinese exchange students exempt from the jab. 500,000 tent homeless people exempt from the jab.
Oh, we got 2 Americans joining us. Thank you for joining the streams.
And 2 million illegals.
That's exempt.
Exempt from the jab.
Now, Celeste did ask us where that link is. If you go to the Seeking Educational Excellence YouTube page, in the description there is where the links to that, the video you just saw, and another video that I put in about Big Food.
So we have that. So the CDC, like we were talking about, they have to approve that 2 out of the 7 ingredients, and that happened on August 17th. They got to tell you, this is one thing about the government. The government cannot do it to the people without telling them. So what
in theory,
no, they talk. No, they put it right in your face. Whether it's in a cartoon, whether it's in a movie, The Matrix,
they tell you subliminally.
They're telling you what they're doing. Now, how they present it to you, that's on you.
That's true. Now, she got a point.
That's on you.
I got you.
But there's nothing the government that's doing to us citizens that they have.
A lot of times they do
that.
That. They do it in plain sight. Yes.
Okay, so you have these children, and from 5 and 11, they may come out mandating maybe next year. Children between 5 and 11, they're mandatory to get the jab to go back to school.
Yeah.
Okay. So while parents are fighting over masks, they're passing through this right here. Okay. Don't look at the man behind the curtain. Yes, there's nothing to look at over here.
Pay attention.
Pay attention over there. Meanwhile, the man behind the curtain is doing all the stuff because you're sleeping. Parents are sleeping, and they're focusing on frivolous things that is not really important. We want to know whether or not this is going to be an issue. This is what you should be bombarding your local politicians about.
Yep.
Is this coming to our school in September? Will they be mandating my child between the age of 5 and 11, okay, to receive these vaccinations? But you got to also remember what they already said. Go back to that video, because he said there would be an outbreak of polio-like symptoms.
And I think the average age was 5.
5. And that's when they get this.
And there's a correlation between the CDC recommendation for this particular vaccination and that age group.
And the flu jab. What about that? What about the flu jab? When do you get the flu jab? He's talking about that then too. When do you get it? And what is in it? I had another article because these students here in St. John's, my daughter's alma mater, St. John's University in New York City. They right now, there is an ongoing lawsuit against the college. The students sue the school over vaccine required on religious concerns. Okay, they're talking about because what's in the ingredients. Okay, the fetal cells.
Okay,
inside the shot.
Right.
St. John's University is a Christian, not a Christian.
I did hear about that they're using fetal stem cells
inside the shot. So because they're doing that and they are pro-life, they're saying we don't want this in our bodies. However, we got to also remember what's in other things that we take in our bodies, like Tylenol, aspirin. We have a lot of things that's on the counter. They use the same type of ingredients in those as well.
Okay.
So what they're going to say is to kind of counterattack that. Do you take aspirin? Do you take this? Do you take this?
It's the same ingredients.
Those are the same ingredients that they're going to make a correlation to what you're saying to me about your religious liberty.
Right.
It's not being invaded, because if you take any other type of over-the-counter medication,
it's the
whether it's
same
for
ingredients.
cold or whatever, you see that this
They're
is
so
what
slick.
they put it in your face.
Yes.
They give it to you. They're showing us that this is nothing more than eugenics, population control, the survival of the fittest. Who is fit? You know, taking vitamins every day, magnesium, zinc, vitamin D, being on a good diet, and you not taking some type of supplement, because you're not going to get as much as you need in your food. You don't eat that much. You're not eating that much. So if you're not taking other supplements to meet that, you know, and sun, you need 2 hours a day of sun.
I don't know, some of our light-skinned brothers and sisters who have type A skin.
Well, you know what? This is for us melanated.
May have a difficult time spending 2 hours a day in the sun. I'm just saying.
And this is the reason why
I got family who got type A skin. They burn very easily.
Yeah, well, you know, my daughter does too, but she loves it. She loves to get that tan line.
She got melanin now.
But she got she got that. Oh, she did from this right here.
She got the natural sunscreen.
But she gets very, very, in the wintertime, she goes, ghost.
She's get very
she goes ghost. Yeah. But the thing about it is that
the melanin goes into hibernation.
She just picked up what her daddy gave her. But the thing about it is that going outside in the sun. Remember we had the lockdown. We had lost so many people during the time of the lockdown because people were not going outside for sun. The sun kills bacteria. The sun brings so much.
The sun is definitely a source of life on this planet.
Yes.
If the sun were to ever go out, I would hasten to say that the planet would die. The sun is the center of this universe and is very important to life on Earth.
Absolutely.
So, but I think you guys kind of get what we're saying. The what I call the unholy or ungodly relationship between big food, big pharma, and even the government. When you talk about government entities like the CDC, the FDA, these big pharmaceutical companies, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson.
Johnson's been around for so long.
And look, Merck been in the background. They're a big one too. And the thing is, all of this information that Vic pulled up is right on the CDC website. You could go on the CDC website and see different different drugs that were approved that were pulled because of the harm that they did. You'll see Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, and all of them in there. So what we're just advocating here is becoming educated and aware and knowledgeable about what's going on. You cannot continue to walk around and keep your head in the sand. Find out, learn, read. And then here's the thing too, before we stop. We are in an information age. I was talking to my son about this because my son is a millennial and I'm a boomer. So I was saying, back in the day as a boomer, we had to go to the library. We had to carry around. We had Encyclopedia Britannica and stuff like that, right? So we had, and then you just think about it. Those things got outdated quick, right? Because there's always new information coming out. Well, in this information age, or what we originally coined the information highway, the internet, you have information at your fingertips. Now you got to make sure that the source that you're using is credible, right? However, the information is still out there. You just have to do your due diligence.
Absolutely.
And so just from us looking closely at and you really don't even have to look close. No. You can just say, what the hell is going on? Look, I can't quit eating these Fritos. You know how they say can't eat just one? You start thinking like, wow, Doritos ain't been around that long. And you just think about how I was talking to a friend this morning. He was talking about how he ate a Dorito and it just really made him sick because he's been on his own journey as well. But how much salt, how much a lot of these processed foods now. But the key is that they can be very addictive.
Yeah.
And if you're not careful, before you know it, you're sick, you're fat, you're diabetic, you got some type of chronic illness. We didn't even
Kim
get
meant
into
to say obese. She didn't mean to say
fat.
Still obese, overweight. We try to stay away from the harsh names because we're not here to bash you, like we said.
No,
we're
not.
To encourage you that, you know, if you do see yourself like, okay, I can stand for 10 pounds to be lost, 20 pounds, and some daily exercise. Let me get on that, because I'm not getting younger, I'm getting older. And you have to remember, the older you get, and if your body is not in the position of health, good movement, you become a burden on your significant other, on your children, on your families.
Yeah.
Because
do it because you love someone.
Yeah.
I think that's key. And I think that's what made me really want to get healthy, because I have 5 beautiful grandchildren.
And I haven't had mine yet.
Yeah. So she won't be healthy for when they get here.
Yeah.
And like one of them, he's 3-year-old, and he have me running all the time. So I don't want to be that grandmother that's, you know, bent over and unhealthy. You know, I want to live to an age where because even though Americans are living longer, that was one of the points that I made. And even though we have great advances in medicine, and we're not against the advances in Western medicine. Western medicine is awesome. There's been some advances that have been very, you know, helpful to humanity as a whole. However, we're living longer, but we're chronically ill. So it comes down to, you know, your quality of life. So if I'm living older, I want to be able
healthy.
to enjoy it.
Exactly. My golden years.
I don't want to have a chronic illness that's got me in the house all the time. I'm tired all the time. All I'm doing is
because you know what? You said tired all the time, because you know what? When you eat bad food, let me tell you something. Ever since, even though I wasn't eating bad food, but ever since I went on this vegan journey, I'm telling you, I am up. I'm like, and it's
more energy.
Much. I'm I just feel clarity, the clarity of my mind, my spiritual being as a whole. Those things are enhanced. You know what I'm saying? As you do, as you cleansing, as you grow, it's like you just sniff some Vicks.
Not this Vicks. Vicks Vapor Rub.
Yeah, and it just opened up everything, and it's just like everything is euphoria. You can just see, smell, taste. Everything is just magnificent. So, anyways, we're gonna bring this to a close.
Two America said that they just started hitting the gym. Awesome.
Yeah.
And and taking daily vitamins.
Okay.
Good. After chemo. Oh, that's Zinga.
Okay.
Yeah, chemo.
Hey,
hey sis.
That's right, girl.
Yes, it all has to do with that, you know, a healthy way of living. So, and so glad you're around, sis. I know that you're doing well as you're recovered in remission. So thank you for joining the channel and watching. And on that note, we thank you so much for joining Well Said with Kim and Vic. And make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel, Seeking Educational Excellence.
And before we go, I want to shout out to Kevin Jackson once again. Thank you for so much each and every time you give us an opportunity to sit here on your platform.
That's
Thank you so much
right.
for that.
And then check us out on Rumble as well. There's a channel, Seeking Educational Excellence, on Rumble as well. And we thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.